You're listening to Montreal Now with Aaron Rand and Natasha Hall on CJAD 800.
That is James MENNIE. He is over at the Montreal Gazette. And Jim, today our tourism minister, Caroline Proulx, weighing in on, I think all Quebecers can agree on. It's time to spend more money on the Olympic Stadium. Here's what she had to say.
It is the symbol of Quebec. You know, whether you watch the Grand Prix de Formula 1, whether you're in France or in Italy, what is the image that you see? The Big O.
No, I would disagree. I'd say it's the orange julep. But then again, that's just me. Jim, worth spending another $700, $800, $1 billion? Because we know that's what the price tag will end up, probably well over that by the time this is done.
We have no choice. I mean, we'd like to say, and we've had a lot of fun on air. I've done entire segments on air about, having, and I'm sure you have too, listeners calling in with smart ideas on how to blow up the Big O, like literally blow up the Big O. But the fact is, this is almost like a kind of one of those rare tropical parasites that crawls in your ear and you can never get rid of. I mean, the Big O is going to be bleeding us money for decades to come, and that's the scary thing about it. Caroline Proulx, who actually used to work at this very station, was not a minister of tourism, told reporters today there are at least 20,000 rips. Yep. In the roof of the Big O. I wonder how they went about counting those, but never mind. The other thing that gets me is there. She cited the example that apparently, like Ontario made like $350 million in tax revenue because Taylor Swift could go there, but she couldn't come to Montreal because we don't have a big stadium-sized venue. Which, of course, I don't know. That wasn't keeping me awake at night, guys. What's keeping me awake at night is the fact that even today, when La Presse is reporting that the baseline for whatever this roof is going to be, because I presume it's going to be another retractable monstrosity, the baseline for that $750 million, it could go up to $1 billion, which, of course, if you speak fluent Quebecois, it means about $1.5 billion at the end of it, presuming it ever gets finished. But this is the thing. Even as a venue, I don't know. Will a new roof help what a lot of people, and I myself, have experienced to be absolutely horrible acoustics in that place? I mean, when you're listening to a concert, there just seems to be no way out of this. And of course, the Premier of Quebec last October, in one of his growing number of unusual statements, goes, well, people from France would like to come. They come to Montreal because they want to see the Olympic Stadium.
Yeah, that's why they come. Yeah.
And I'm thinking, no, they don't. But this is it. He tends to. He's getting more and more like the weird uncle at the end of the table at Christmas dinner. There's stuff coming out of that guy's head these days that don't make any sense. But the fact is, if someone could explain to me how a new roof, even if it is, how it is going to justify the expense and the existence of a venue like we have, I'll be fine with it. But I don't think anybody can. As it is, as far as I can tell. We know the CF Montreal is going to have to do their home opener at the Saputo Stadium because of this, and I'm not entirely sure. But there were two events booked in there. There's the Home Expo, I think, in March.
Monster trucks.
Easy, Natasha.
Monster
and
trucks.
there's also another one which I'm very sorry escapes me right now, but that was supposed to go on, I think, in April. Long story short, looks like they may be on the bubble and whether or not they can occur. But, yeah, I mean, and you know how this is going to go, guys. Because when the communique came out from the Olympic Installations Board, it had one of my favorite French verbs in there, carottage. Carottage, as the name suggests, it's like, it's like you're digging carrots. They're taking core samples. And we all know how much fun you can have, especially in a place like the Big O, with core samples. Who knows? Maybe there's a whole hell of a lot more wrong with that place than the roof. But I guess, as they say, only time will tell.
To your point, Jim, I mean, there's no way you could do a cost-benefit analysis and say, well, we're investing $1 billion, but it eventually bring us back at least what we're investing and then some. That's simply not the case. It doesn't change the nature of where that stadium is and what it is on the inside, never mind the outside. So I don't understand. And maybe what we should do is have some kind of a hologram that looks like a removable roof, because if that's the thing people come for just to see it, it would still look like it, and we could save $700 million. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I remember going to see Expos games there, and the one thing that always struck me about it was how sterile it was. That place was. I can't see how anyone would have an attack. No. And I got nothing against the people working for the Olympic Installations Board. It's just one of the coldest, least character-infused buildings I've ever been in my life, and I don't understand why someone has not figured out, never mind fixing the roof, like you say, fix the location. There must be something better we can be doing with the Big O than having it sit there and bleed money decade after decade.
There must be something better we can do with that money. I mean, good grief.
Look, at the end of the day, for that $1 billion, you could actually build a stadium nowadays. You could build a smaller stadium down in the Peel Basin area where, of course, the original stadium, if we ever had a second one, was going to go. That's not even being discussed anymore.
No.
So
no, that's gone
that ship
through the
has sailed,
And face it, even if they tried, the way things work in this city now, I can think of, at least three, how can I put it, community groups that haven't been formed yet that would oppose it tooth and nail.
Truth be told.
Let's squeeze this one in. Speaking of Francois Legault being, living on another planet and being off in La La Land, he seems to think that the kids are going to be back in school on Monday. Now, English sector kids will be. They're supposed to be back on Friday, but the French sector is still in an unlimited strike. So what's the latest here?
Okay, I want you to, so that's Francois Legault. Here's Simone Lebel. Here's Sonia Lebel from earlier today, in essence saying the same thing, Brian.
I am confident that we have on the table all the elements that could permit us to reach an agreement by the end of the week. But still, we have to work hard, but everything is on the table.
So that's the new mantra? End of the week, kids will be back in school on Monday, all of a sudden out of nowhere.
There are one of two things going on here. Either the Premier of Quebec is so completely out of touch with contract negotiations that he's saying he said, tous les enfants will be back in class by next Monday. He had high hopes for that. The fact is the FAE, which is 56,000 teachers, is nowhere near a deal. And he's also suggesting that the rest of them, the 90,000 or so teachers represented by the CSQ, are going to settle as well, even though they're a part of a common front and will not have a separate piece with the government until their fellow unions also get a deal. That's possibility A. Possibility B is that Francois Legault is deliberately muddying the waters. He's deliberately confusing things. So when next Monday comes around, he will be able to add to what really seems to be a growing campaign on his behalf and those of his cabinet ministers to scapegoat public sector workers with anything that was already going wrong with the education or health systems. It's very cynical. I'm hoping it won't work. I see that the friends over at Quebec are picking up the slack. Les pauvres enfants, les pauvres patients. 500 surgeries are being canceled. They are elective surgeries. Yes, it's a problem for those who were on the waiting list. But the fact is, there's a strike going on. They're not striking for the fun of it. So, but here we are with the Premier of Quebec saying very, very unusual things, which I can only hope he's doing because he doesn't know what's going on rather than he's deliberately trying to misinform the public.
Or maybe we all get fooled and Monday everyone's back in class and he had this planned all along. X number of days, keep them out and just go ahead, sign whatever they want and throw them back in the
when I
class
come on Monday, well, I'll be here with Santa Claus. We'll be doing shooters together.
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
Jim, thank you.
Adam.